early in the fourth, 3rd and 11 play, did a great job climbing the pocket and finding Hollins for 16 yards over the middle. I don't know if you remember that one.
I do. I thought that was one of their best plays of the game.
One of his best plays. I mean, it just, he's just starting to feel it, Mazz, and feel the rush, or the game is slowing down or something there. I just thought the way he operated back there was a next level thing for him. That was, I thought, a move for him. And then, which is self-evident, his accuracy, the ball placement on some of those balls downfield, elite ball placement down there on the booty touchdown, the first one in the end zone. For cripe's sake, even at the end, when they didn't, that last drive that stalled, he picked up a 3rd and 17 to Diggs, and they called another stupid OPI. 3rd and 27, he put it right on Hollins' hands on a deep ball down the right sideline that could have been a defensive PI. Is his accuracy down the field, Mazz, and it's not just the rifle shots. He has a touch on the ball and has a catchability on the ball that is, again, it is elite stuff, and I think he showed it yesterday.
Yeah, the ball lands in there softly. Again, you mentioned the first touchdown of Booty, the two on the sideline, and the ones on the right sideline, I think he has shown that since pretty much the day he set foot in the league. Like, he seems comfortable with that throw. That was the one he threw at the end of the half when Mayo was the coach to Booty. I don't remember who the opponent was in that game for the touchdown at the end of the half. So to me, he's always had that one on that side, but some of these other throws are ridiculous. And you touched on it, that there are only a handful that you would say that was a bad throw. There was one behind, I think it was Kyle Williams late in the game yesterday on the left sideline. The ball was behind him. So,
that also might be a bad route by Williams, who kind of stinks.
You know what? It might have been to Mario Douglas.
So it was. They were back-to-back. First one was to Williams, and this is the second to last drive. I think I said last drive. Before the last drive, he obviously iced with that great back shoulder to Booty. But I think it was the drive before where Kyle Williams cut inside of his zone and May threw it somewhere else. I'll blame Williams on that.
Yeah, they had a miscommunication, I think, on that. Right.
And then the very next one, it was, I believe, Douglas on an out that May just missed.
He was behind him.
His only miss of the day, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not like it was the kind of play, I think, where they were saying, the Patriots wanted PI, but the ball wasn't good enough for there to be a PI. The ball wasn't in the right place. Outside of those handful or a couple, I don't remember any others. He was terrific.
Oh, he's accurate. He's keeping the ball out of harm's way. And I'm convinced, too, because if you remember in the first half of the Bills game last week, Chris Collinsworth called out, there's not a lot of flaws to his game, but one of the things he's going to work on here is keeping his head up when he's feeling the rush. It felt to me like they worked the hell out of that this week going into this game, considering how he just kept his eyes downfield, was stepping out of the pocket like you were talking about. It feels like they saw that, too, and maybe the fix was as easy as, hey, just keep your head up. Like, if you're feeling heat, keep your head up, look downfield, you'll be fine. Because that's what it felt like they really emphasized that this week going into this game.
It was the Drake Maye show, Mazz. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I also think that when the Saints were able to get pressure, and that wasn't often, it came from the edges. It didn't come up from up the middle. So it was, they had pretty good protection for most of the day. I mean, good protection for most of the day. And so he was able to step up. And, Mike Reese said something on a Toucher and Hardy this morning that, the ability of the offensive line, at least in this game, to be functional relative to where it has been over the last couple of years has made an enormous difference. Mike, maybe all that stuff you sense him feeling the rush and all of that is because he's confident and comfortable back there, and so now he can just play. He doesn't have to worry about Henderson missing a blitzer coming up the middle. There was a running play that I mentioned to you that Stevenson picked up a blitzer and cut the guy, and May was able to scamper out of there. So they blocked pretty well for him in terms of giving him some time in the pocket. And if that's how he's going to look when they give him time, sky's the limit.
So, I think he's elevating them a little bit, the offensive line, making them look better, which is what good quarterbacks do. I think he's elevating his receivers, which is what franchise quarterbacks do. That's the deal. All of a sudden, it looks like he got a couple receivers all of a sudden the offensive line looks like it's taken a step. I think that's directly related to Drake Maye. That being said, I do think the line and the receiver group has taken a step up from last year. But I think if you think it's a big jump, I think that's Drake Maye related. So that's a big win for them. That's a big win. That is valid. I think that's total validation on the Buffalo game, even though it wasn't perfect. It's not supposed to be perfect. They're not at a stage yet where they're going to be perfect. And it's a wonky part of the schedule. So sandwiched in between a big division game on one end of it and a personal thing for Bravel on the next one, on the next weekend of it. So that was a tough little spot for them. And they separated. I think they handled it. And I think they absolutely validated with that win. On Vrabel, Mazz, the command is clearly there, don't you think?
Yes. On
the sideline, the command of the game, and Stryker and the operation, and whether you agree with every move or not, you really get the sense that they are dialed in on it. Like, for example, they probably should have challenged a fumble play. Who was it who punched it out of Olave's hands and they called it incomplete on the field?
Woods.
So it was Woods who punched it out of Olave's hands. There was probably a third step, and I probably, if they had reviewed that, it probably would have been fumble and recovery to New England. They would have gotten the ball down there. I heard him talking about it this morning. It's like he said, well, you want to save them for the crucial moment. I didn't know that was a crucial moment, and we were going to get the ball down there anyway, it was third down. It was a third down stop, and I don't have the exact yard line in front of me, but it was, I don't know, between the 20 and 30 yard line somewhere down there. And well, New Orleans had to punt anyway, so I'm not sure how much field position you even lost or gained. I don't think you did much. I think you sort of ended up with it on the punt, right around where you would have if you had called for the replay. I guess I can look at it right here, but
it was about 4 yards, Mike.
So they lost 4 yards.
They lost 4 yards. That's it. They would have. He punched the ball out, and then it bounced a couple of yards forward. So they would have gotten the ball at around the 28-yard line. They ended up getting it on the 24 after the punt. So, again, right call. It's not worth potentially losing a challenge there for 4 yards.
It's just a small, simple thing, but they were on it. I think if you weren't on it, you just, that's a fumble. Let's get well, no, it's fourth down. They're punting. It's not like you ended up with the ball on their side of the field. You're going to be starting off, pretty much substantially in your end anyway. Save it. Now, listen, they probably would have won it. They wouldn't have needed it at the end. I mean, they used both challenges, but they were right. So they would have gotten a third. So he still could have challenged it. All I'm saying is they were on it. And, one thing that drove me crazy in real time, and I guess I was there, so I didn't get it, is why they were going for two at the end of the second quarter. And when you're there, you can't really tell what's going on all the time. Well, they got there was a penalty on New Orleans, and so it moved it to the one, right? That's why they were doing it.
Right. There were actually two penalties. There was a personal foul in the end zone.
And then there was an offsides on their first try.
Right. So the ball ended up on the half-yard line. So that's why they went for two.
So, I'm trying to figure the score. Why would you want to be 6 versus 5? It doesn't really, just kick the effing thing.
I'm glad I'm not alone here because, look, math certainly not a strong suit for me. But at the time, I'm like, what? This makes no sense, even to me. I don't understand why they're doing this.
I'll tell you why. Because the analytics on a 2-pointer from the 1 yard line versus the analytics on a 2-pointer from the 2.5 or whatever are different. And the numbers say go for it from the 1. Don't go for it from the 2. Probably no matter what the score is. So, which I hate as a fan, we've been over this, but I'll put it in the bucket, Mazz, of they're dialed. Vrabel and Stryker they have good command of the game. And I think you can feel it through the TV.
They knew what they wanted to do before it happened, is really what it comes down to. The only other thing with the 6 and 5, and not to get bogged down in this, because I think at the end of the day, it's predetermined. I agree with that. Once the ball gets to the 1 yard line, they go for it. They were already going for it on the 1, and they were clearly going to go for it when it moved another half yard forward. But the only thing is that a touchdown, the game's still tied. They have to make the extra point. whereas they take the lead. Otherwise, they go up by a point. So, but I don't think that really had anything to do with it. I think it was I think that's predetermined because you see a lot of teams do it.
So that, and then the very end of the game situation where they challenged to make sure Booty was in bounds, and they got to run that basically ended the game. If they hadn't done that, they probably would have had a punt away. So they got the clock, and they made sure that the clock set at 40 and wound down to the 2-minute warning. And again, there's just a general competence and command there that I think you can just sense watching the game through your television. It must translate and permeate the building and on a daily, and it's part of the reason they're there. But don't make any mistake. The number one reason you're here is the quarterback has made a move. He's made a pretty big move. He was elite in this game. I thought he was next level in this game.